SCP-166, also known as the teenage succubus, is a very disturbing SCP. This is because any male that observes the girl will become strongly attracted to her, to the point of obsession. And as you can probably imagine, this can have bad consequences. But why does SCP-166 have such an effect on men? And where does she originate from? In this video, we try to answer these questions. By the way, just a heads up, SCP-166 was revised a few weeks ago and is now totally different, but I'll be talking about the original version, because most SCP fans find it more interesting than the new one. To begin with, let's quickly remind ourselves of the original SCP-166's description. 166 is a female in her late teens, of average height and slender build. Medical analysis indicates several small deviations, including accelerated hair growth and vulnerability to airborne particles such as cigarette smoke and aerosols, which induce symptoms similar to an asthma attack. However, as we said, SCP-166 is more famous for her unusual effect on men. This is because upon establishing visual contact with her, 100% of human males tested became physically attracted to the girl and attempted to reach her for the purpose of intercourse. In 70% of these test subjects, the impulse faded after being removed from SCP-166, but in the remaining 30%, the desire turned into obsession, resulting in violent attempts to regain access to the girl. And to top things off, amnestics were only effective in curing about 40% of males from this effect, which once again proves just how powerful SCP-166's effect really is. And as you can probably imagine, 166's properties cause her a large amount of distress, and because of this, contact between her and any human male is strictly forbidden. SCP-166 was originally retrieved from a convent, and according to the nuns, she was delivered there by a young woman of indistinguishable features who claimed that 166 was the offspring of an elder creature of great power. However, this woman didn't share any other information, and subsequent attempts to locate her for questioning have been unsuccessful. SCP-166 was raised in a convent, and the nuns took special care of her because of her needs. However, during her stay in the convent, a young man sneaked inside to visit one of the novices and accidentally caught sight of SCP-166. A few days later, having become obsessed with the girl, this man became violent and attacked the convent, attempting to gain access to 166 for obvious purposes. He severely injured a few nuns, but luckily, he was neutralized before he could reach the girl. A Foundation operative heard of the incident and proceeded to the scene, but he also became obsessed. However, having realized that this effect is anomalous, he placed himself into confinement and requested a female agent to take over the retrieval operation. Shortly afterward, SCP-166 was transferred to Foundation facilities. However, while in containment, it became apparent that 166's dietary requirements are somewhat different, to say the least. It turns out that on a weekly basis, the girl needs to consume a certain bodily fluid, which I'd rather not name. But despite of this, the girl can consume normal human food, and does so from time to time. Also, even the lightest clothing tends to cause pressure ulcers on SCP-166's skin within 45 minutes of constant wear, and because of this, the girl is allowed to take off her garments when she is alone. But apart from all these deviations, SCP-166 behaves normally and is very cooperative. Because of this, she has been granted access to several items which she has requested, including a copy of the Holy Bible, a Catholic rosary, various books and magazines, mostly religious in nature, and telephone access to the convent in which she grew up. She is even allowed to go on a 12-hour excursion to an uninhabited island once a month. So as we see, SCP-166's properties are very bizarre, and they definitely make us wonder how the girl came to be so anomalous. Unfortunately, 166 was brought to the convent at a very young age, and she doesn't remember anything prior to her transfer, and the woman that brought her there can't be located, so we don't have any information about her origin. However, one day, a mysterious letter appeared in her containment chamber, which can help us learn more. Dear daughter, I first met your mother when she was a girl. She had hooves for feet and starlight in her eyes. She was beauty and nature, and I ended her life with my own 2 hands. Eden isn't a place, it's a state of being. They wanted to take us back to it. I stopped them. I took paradise away from us for a second time. I have never regretted my actions on that day, except one, that when you first met me on that day, you saw your father put a bullet into the head of your mother. I make no excuses, only explanation. I hope you understand why I did what I did. I hope you forgive me. I love you. I wish I could have done more for you. The best I could do was leave you in the hands of kind and loving people and hope they would raise you in my place. From what I've seen, they did well. I'm sorry you couldn't stay with them. I'm sorry they've brought you to this place. I promise to do my best to make sure your stay here is pleasant. I promise to keep you safe. Happy birthday, honey. Your father. Redacted. And finally, in SCP-166's old wiki article, the words "your father" link to another document, which turns out to be Dr. Clef's last note. In this document, Clef reflects on his past and the things he has done. He starts off by stating that everyone in the Foundation thinks he's omnipotent, but he says this isn't the case. In fact, Clef considers the possibility of him being some sort of devil that has been punished for defying God and has become unable to interact with anomalies as a result. However, despite of this, Clef says that he has interacted with a few SCPs before, all of which were female. The second anomaly I was ever able to interact with was Epon, my daughter. I say interact, but I'm still immune to her anomaly. I knew it was her from the instant I saw her. She had her mother's eyes. She's my only proof that there was a man named Alto Clef, my daughter, who's stuck in a cell because the Foundation is afraid that every man in the world is going to harm her. They call her a succubus. What a joke. If she was a succubus, it would be the other way around. So my daughter, who you know as 166, is being held against her will for the simple reason that she was born, but she doesn't deserve it. I'm hoping that what I left with her will stop anything else from happening to her, and yet I can't do anything about it. I can't even let her know I'm her father. The Foundation just thinks it's another anomaly that I'm immune to because I'm a reality anchor. But I know she's my daughter, and I want her to be happy. I tried to make her life a little better, but I had to use half of my contacts just to get a single note into her cell. I had to use the other half to leave my last gift for her. Epon, I'm sorry. After finishing this note, Clef presumably takes his own life via a gunshot, but his body is nowhere to be found, his status unknown. So as we see, it turns out that the woman that left SCP-166 at the convent was telling the truth, and the girl really is the offspring of an elder creature. And out of all people, this goddess was together with Dr. Clef. And if Clef really is a manifestation of Satan, which is what many people believe in, then this would explain why 166's powers are so negative and why Clef is so apologetic, because he is responsible for SCP-166's tragic existence. So what do you think? If SCP-166's mother is a goddess, then why are her powers so negative? And is Clef the reason why? Let us know in the comments. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more SCP videos.